including Vivek Ramaswamy, who joins us now in studio. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
It's good to see you.
All right, so I want to start out with something you posted on Twitter, saying affirmative action is the single greatest form of institutional racism in America today. Why do you feel that way?
I think by definition, there are institutions that regularly take race into account as a factor on whether or not someone gets a job or whether or not someone gets a seat in college. By definition, that's institutionalized racism. And I think the Supreme Court made the right decision today to vote on the side of meritocracy over race-based preferences. I think that's a step forward. It's not a destination. As the next U.S. president, if I'm elected, I would eliminate race-based affirmative action in every other sphere of American life as well, including in the economy where it runs rampant today.
So I want to just throw some numbers out there, right? The University of California system banned the use of race in admissions in 1996. In 1996, 7% of the students there were black. Today, that number is 2%. If you look at University of Michigan, before they passed similar laws in 2006, black enrollment was 7%. By 2021, it was just 4%. So we see clearly what happens. There's a downward trend when it comes to diversity. Is that a good thing?
All right, so let me say this. We as people, right, for some reason we have this ideology that we have to depend on other people. We built this country. And when I say we built this country, the slave owners used black people to work for them to establish most of the bridges, most of the railroads, most of the roads. So basically, we built almost everything that in this country. And one thing that I found out is another thing, they stole all of our inventions, and there are a lot of inventions that we didn't get credit for because we were solving problems back then. Black people understood that, hey, we had to work for massa, we had to supply this, we had to do this. So we came up with ideas to make life better, to make life more convenient. And in the process of that, the slave owners, we couldn't own nothing. I mean, the slaves, we couldn't own nothing. So the slave owners took the credit. Now, why did I say all that? I said that to say this. If black people, if white people or any other ethnicity don't want us in their schools, we shouldn't even have to be in their schools. Because, okay, if in our communities, if the education is lesser, if we're not getting taught right, that's our fault. That's our responsibility. And me as a father, I don't wait for no goddamn school to educate my child. It's my responsibility as well. So if people don't want us in their schools, we shouldn't have to be. We should love each other, take care of our own, educate our own. And before integration, when we were segregated, listen to this.
In the black community, we were prepared by setting certain goals, objectives for ourselves. This was done primarily in the home, in the church, and in the school at that particular time, because schools had a heavy reinforcement into our characters because they were black schools. Schools were not integrated at that time. Do the best that you can with your life. You are unique. You have a contribution to make. You have something to offer. You have a talent. You have skills. Many, many other things that you do have. Go on out there into the world and get them. Don't stay here in Farmville. There's nothing here for you. It's a retired person's town, a little small place of this nature, but go on and develop yourself. College, if you can't go to college, take up a good skill. Skill trades were heavy then. We moved away from that, of course, now, but in the 50s, skill trades were very heavy. Masonry, carpentry, electronics, auto mechanics, and many, many others.
Now, you see that? That's how we were before we were integrated. When we were segregated, we had our own. We were doing just fine as a people, but we lost the love for each other. We've lost the love for each other. And that's why we have to start when we're talking about building our community. It has to start with loving our women, loving our children, loving our brothers and sisters, and establishing families. But I'll expound on that more. Let's keep watching this. So I just had to interject on this video about affirmative action. We don't need it. I understand why they put it in place, and especially at that particular time and juncture, in the environment that was going on at that time. But as of now, we don't need it. And we're kind of And like I said, I just played that video to show you that we were thriving without affirmative action. Even with racism going on and people not want to deal with us, we were okay.
Well, look, I think what's not a good thing is putting people into positions that they're actually not qualified to have. What this actually should wake us up to is the reality of the failures of early education, K through 12 education, starting at a young age. That's evidence of the fact that many poor Americans, and black Americans do tend to be poorer than white Americans, for example, do not have access to good public education starting even in kindergarten or first grade. That's where we need to focus. I know that's not an easy solution. I know that everyone's looking for a Band-Aid.
It's our responsibility, not theirs.
But a Band-Aid at the end of the process does not solve the failures early on. So we should worry less about diversity, visually speaking, and more about lifting up everyone to give them equality of opportunity. That's the way I'll lead the country.
I agree.
How do you
Totally agree.
giving equality of opportunity when you're saying basically for some people, as you just said, there could be whether it's socioeconomic, whether it's by race, that we're saying, you know what, we're not going to even consider that in our admissions process when you're talking about there have been decades, centuries, right, of discrimination that has caused that disparity in our education system.
That's true.
So the reality
Now,
is,
that's a
when I
fact.
went to public schools through 8th grade, it was racially diverse, majority black or something close to it. There wasn't a single one of those black kids that could not have achieved everything that I have in my life. I've
That's
lived the
true.
American dream. I'm now running for U.S. president. If they had also been given the same privilege that I had, which was 2 parents in the house and a focus on education.
Come on now. He's talking that talk. Let's go.
It's not just in the black community, but across America, across multiple races. There's good evidence that people are more likely to end up in poverty.
So, just like this brother just said, this man just said, we gotta get our families back. Fathers, mothers in the household with our kids and thriving. That's where we gotta start with. Now we have a hood. We don't have a neighborhood because half the time you don't know your neighbor anymore because usually when you're in a neighborhood, everybody been on that street for 20, 30 years. We know everybody. There's a lot of respect going on. People looking out for each other, loving each other. Like this brother just said, it starts with the family structure, y'all. We got to get back to the family.
More likely to drop out of high school. Let's address the family structure. Let's deliver school choice. I think that's something that actually does give a lot of Americans, including it's lifted up a lot of black Americans in the states that have adopted it, allowing families to choose to send their kids to the best possible school they can. That's how we deliver solutions.
I want to read Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's very strong dissent, which I'm sure you've heard at this point, but she said, with the let them eat cake obliviousness today, the majority pulls the ripcord and announces color blindness for all by legal fiat, but deeming race irrelevant in law does not make it so in life. What's your reaction to her response?
I understand the criticism. However, I think the right way to stop discrimination on the basis of race is to actually stop discriminating on the basis of race, to quote Justice Roberts from an earlier case in the affirmative action saga. I think that we have to at least start behaving in a way that puts meritocracy first. I believe that every child in this country can realize their maximal potential if they're given that equality of opportunity. And it is striking to me that the very opponents of this ruling today, the very proponents of affirmative action, are also some of the most rabid opponents of school choice. That's bad for teachers' unions, yes, but it is good for Americans, including those who grow up in impoverished circumstances. So I think there's a lot of hypocrisy to go around here.
Okay, so last question for you, playing devil's advocate here a bit. If we can agree that diversity is better for all of us, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in the conference room, but we can also agree that with this decision today, we're going to have less diversity. How do you get from one to the other and say that this is a positive step for us when your answer sounds like you're saying, well, if you had 2 parents in the home, I mean, you can't have any kind of legislation that's going to put 2 parents in the home.
Well, I think I'll actually push back on you on that. Right now, we're paying many single mothers more money not to have the man in the house.
Thank you.
Than to have the man in the house. And affirmative action, as well as those policies, they were part of the same vision. From Lyndon Johnson, you want to blame a white man for this? He's a good one to start. Passed the Great Society legislation, affirmative action into the law. Actually, the payment programs that I'm talking about. So instead of actually giving incentives that run against family formation,
Thank you.
let's instead at least remove those government incentives. And to your point, yes, is there going to be a trade-off in the short run that's all else equal regrettable? Yes, there is. But is it in service of a deeper value of meritocracy? And we're going to solve that problem in a different way by starting with early childhood education and family formation.
Vivek Ramaswamy, really appreciate you coming on the show.
All right, so Vivek Ramaswamy, if y'all don't know, this man is running for president, and he has my vote after this presidency. Now, I'm not going to vote for him this time, but I'm going to vote for Trump. But the next time, I'm surely going to vote for this man, and I'm campaigning for him. That's why I'm doing this video, so I can introduce this brother to a lot of y'all. And we as black people, I'm speaking for black people, we need to get on this man's bandwagon now and support him now. He said family formation. You have single women out here that are being incentivized for being single, not having a man in the home. So to help family formation, in my opinion, this is what I think. This is the idea that I have. We need to start incentivizing married couples. So take the money, take the resources that you're giving to single mothers and start giving it to only married couples. Guess what that's going to do? In my opinion, that is going to make women say, hey, I don't want to be single out here, because the government is incentivizing family formation. We understand that the family structure is the most important structure in this economy, in this world, hands down, period, right? So that would stop a lot of people being promiscuous. That would understand that, hey, it would help us financially as a household, because there are even a lot of married couples that are struggling. So if the government is helping us get ahead as a married couple, and then that's going to help our children, that's going to help our family, that's going to help our neighborhoods, that's going to help our community, that's going to help our culture to establish families. So let's reallocate the finances from the single women to the married couples. That's just my opinion. That's what I'm thinking about. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in reference to family formation, to take the money away from the single mothers and start giving that money to the married couples to advance the married couples so they can continue to thrive and make sure that they have their bare necessities and needs and wants for their children. What y'all think about that? Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you go to Inches 360, the sponsor for this channel. Make sure you cleanse out your body, because health is wealth. Make sure you're in the gym, taking care of your body. For all the ladies that watch this program, the website is down below, the Patreon. It's not an actual link, but if you just go to that website, you can sign up for my Trap Fitness with Pretty Girls workout. You have 24-hour access. Also, like I said, go cleanse your body. Go to www.inches360.com. Cleanse your body out. Health is wealth, and disease starts in the gut. We want to make sure that you're in optimal health. God bless y'all. See y'all in the next video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'm out.